Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel with Nicholas, no relation, Richardson, and in Tallinn, Harold von Kursk. Saluting. Salute to you, sir. How are things?
Everything's fine. It's a bit of a cold, gray day. Otherwise, that's typical for Tallinn, so nothing changes here during the winter.
No snow?
Very little snow in Estonia of late for the last 3-4 years. Unfortunately, global warming has removed some of the Christmas magic of the region.
Yeah, exactly. Christmas magic. And, it's been the same here. Very little. Very few days under freezing, even. Last year, I don't believe in Warsaw there was one whole day under freezing.
I don't think there was. There certainly wasn't any snow of any note.
Yeah, there was no snow, really. There was one day that was
light
fluffy.
powdering, which had disappeared by lunchtime on a couple of days.
Yeah, something like that.
And that was it, which is very, even in the time I've been here, in the last 20 years. You know,
when you look back at the old films, it was always
but when you look back,
I
can remember my first few winters here. It was snow from October to March.
Yeah,
essentially.
Crazy. Yeah.
And now that's all disappeared.
So definitely things
are definitely changing. And also the summers have become a lot more humid.
Summers are more humid and a bit longer, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the climate is definitely, or the weather at least, is definitely
There's no doubt the climate is changing, yeah. We can see it. I mean, I always, as a journalist, I always look at empirical evidence. Look what's happening in the streets.
Exactly.
If you want to know what's going on in a country. And certainly we look around and we see the weather and we know, we can compare it. It is definitely changing. And we hear what Harold says. No snow in Estonia seems impossible because...
It's even further north than we are.
Much further. It's almost in Finland. And it's next to St. Petersburg. And you always think of, the Russian winter and all that stuff.
Those sleighs across endless landscapes.
Yeah. We were talking about palm trees and where to find a palm tree. In the last episode, I was saying you could drive about 600 miles from Warsaw through Slovenia, through Czech Republic. You could stop off in Prague if you wanted to. But the main road goes through Brno, B-R-N-O. Brno is how it's pronounced. A nice town in its own right, very Austrian, old-school Austrian looking. And you go down through there and cross through Slovenia and come through the mountains to beautiful Trieste, a Roman town.
Indeed.
Lots of Roman ruins there.
Very interesting town historically.
Beautiful town. And also very interesting.
Jan Morris, who wrote a lot of books about that, particularly Venice, but I think recently wrote a book about Trieste.
Yeah, and James Joyce famously lived there.
By the way, Will, speaking of Brno, do you feel born again?
Why would I feel born again?
Nicholas has the answer.
It's an anagram.
Bjorn?
Just put the O in front of the
Oh, born
R
in that sense. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking of Bjorn again, which was this ABBA impersonators that I once interviewed. All I could think of was Bjorn. I thought you said Bjorn again.
Yeah. They're very good. I think I once saw them in London.
I interviewed Bjorn again in London. They were hilarious. I wrote an article for a magazine called Midweek, which used to appear on the Tube. And it's millions of copies, and everyone I knew saw that article. And it was what I like. It was amazing. If you could write in midweek, everyone would see it, it was a freebie, so it was just crazy. But they had good, funny stuff.
ABBA is one of those great guilty pleasures of pop music. Even though it's schmaltzy, you have to love ABBA. And if you're feeling depressed, just find an ABBA song. My God. Picks you up.
I think the thing why ABBA's music is so good is I'm not a musician, but technically, the way they wrote it, the way it's put together is brilliant, apparently.
Yeah, no,
I saw a program by some musicologist who's explaining on BBC Two why ABBA music was so good. And it was really, if you like, the musical engineering behind it was so very clever.
Yeah, it's very. And this reminds me of something that, you reminded me of something that Pete Townsend said, that he thought Waterloo was a perfect song. He said, I never wrote a song as perfect as that. It's an amazing, amazing song.
And the two singers, they're in perfect pitch together, so that's why it sounded so good as well.
And not bad looking, too.
Yeah, but their singing voices together were just
No, they had
perfect.
Everything. They were very you know, statuesque, sexy, and they could sing.
Well, they could sing. That was amazing.
Yeah, which was amazing.
The main thing.
But born again, the girls could sing as well. It was hilarious, that experience. Anyway, yes, I feel born again. Thank you, Harold.
You still haven't told us about it. We've been waiting and coming back night after night to hear about your great European journey. European journey.
So you end up in Trieste, and of course there are a lot of nice places to stay there. And particularly in the winter, the prices are low. So it's wonderful. And then, you know, you get your place, and they have some winding old streets. They also have a big port. They have nice restaurants. The people are very, you know, being amiable, being Italy, and used to tourists, so there's no problems, and welcoming. And suddenly, the temperature goes from, well, on this particular journey, it was quite cold that year. It was like -10 when you know, it had been very cold around Christmas time, and -10 centigrade. And so you arrive there, and it's 50 degrees, and you feel like it's summer. You know?
Fantastic.
So you can go about in a sweater and a windbreaker or something, yeah? It was amazing. And then, of course, next door, you have the beautiful Croatian coast there. Immediately on the Adriatic, the Croatian coast is very beautiful. It's quite famous for being a microclimate as well. And of course, there are palm trees there too, should you choose not to cross the mountains to Trieste. But it's a fantastic place. And I reckon a lot of people don't think that Trieste is, in that part of the world, is #1 on their list. But in the winter, it's amazing. I would highly recommend it for an escape.
Okay.
Especially during COVID times, because you don't have to fly. You can just drive there and go for a walk in the beautiful sea breeze. Yeah. Harold, anything to add?
Yes, I've never been. I've always wanted to go there, but it's a little bit out of the way unless you're willing to take a long drive, mountain ranges and everything. I've always wanted, of course, to visit. Well, one place which we haven't spoken about is Bratislava.
Hold on. We're going to come back in the next segment. We're going to talk about, we'll start with Bratislava, because that is also an interesting place. Okay, we won't talk about it now. We'll come back. Hello, everybody. So thanks for watching. And if you like the show, would you please consider hitting the like and subscribing, and hit that bell so you'll see when a new episode pops up every day. Thank you very much for that consideration, and we'll see you next time in the next segment, where we're going to talk about Bratislava, which is a place, undiscovered place for a lot of people, which is worth talking about, in Slovakia.
Indeed.
Capital of Slovakia, is it? Yeah?
I think so.
I believe so, yeah. Okay, it is. Hang in there. See you next time.